Hey, what's going on, guys? Indypride here, back with Milk and Cookies Total War. Recently, I've been playing Medieval 2, and I don't know what you guys think about that or what you think about the game, but I've actually really been enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun, and I've gotten a lot of nice replays for you. So, regardless of whether you guys want me to continue it, me doing Medieval replays or not, I do have a bunch of them. So, at the very least, I'm gonna get like 6 or 7 replays out of this before. I decide to continue doing Medieval or not, but I have been having a ton of fun on it. And so, yeah, like I said, I have like 6 or 7 replays that I want to be bringing to you guys. So this right here was a battle I played a couple days ago. I played actually like 4 battles against this guy. And in this battle, I'm bringing the Byzantines. And if any of you guys saw our first Medieval 2 replay, we posted it like 4 or 5 months ago. I was using Byzantines in that one. It's probably one of my favorite factions in the game. I really like their infantry selection, and I think their cavalry is quite good too. But we're going to look at the army setups really quick. I've got 2 Varangian Guard up front and 4 dismounted Latinkin, which are basically European-style knights. A General's Bodyguard. And what I usually do with my infantry body is I just I max out armor and attack. Usually, I found in most Total War games, infantry is what wins you the battle, and cavalry is what turns it in your favor if you're starting to lose it. And that's definitely true in this battle as well. But I really like to upgrade the sword and shield on my units. I just think, especially on my melee units, I just think that's what usually turns the infantry battle in my favor. And over here on my right, I've got 4 cataphracts, really nice, really cool looking heavy cavalry unit, and then 3 or 2 Vardar-Riotai, which are Byzantine cavalry, archer cavalry. And they're actually really good in melee and really good archers as well. So they're quite a good unit. And that's one thing the Byzantines definitely have a lot of, is good archer cavalry. So we're going to get into the replay right now and press play. And this was actually one of my first battles in a long time on Medieval 2. I will admit I'm not particularly experienced on Medieval. I've only probably played like 20 or 25 battles, but one thing I love about Medieval is just the factions, the time period, and the amount of unit selection and variety there are. One thing that obviously Shogun has gotten a little, it's not stale, but Medieval has way more unit variety and faction variety, and I like that a lot about it. But we're going to focus on my Vardar Riotai here, because I'm trying to get on this Danish flank. He's bringing a lot of Norse archers, which is one... Well, actually, let's focus on this right here. The Huscarls that he had hidden in the trees are going to ambush me, and I'm going to quickly pull my archer cavalry out, just because I don't want them to get killed in melee. But one thing about that's very different about Medieval than Shogun is that the archers and the ranged units are actually completely capable in melee. Like, Denmark has Norse archers, which are actually very capable in melee and can hold against sword units. And he's got a lot of really good units. He's got a very infantry heavy build. He's got Obudshire, which are like spear wall kind of pike unit, heavily armored. He's got some Norse axemen and a bunch of Huscarl cavalry. And so the Danish have really good infantry, but I definitely have the cavalry advantage in this battle. I'm going to seek to exploit that as much as possible. But he's trying to pull his Huscarls out right now, and we're going to zoom in on my Kataphractoi, because I'm going to get a rear charge off and try to do as much damage to them as possible, because I just want to get his cavalry off the field so I have control of the battle, and I can just kind of impose my will with my cavalry. I'm not going to be able to rout that unit, but I do end up killing half the unit, so he's going to pull out and run away, and I'm going to just set up on... his name's Normukund. Normukund is the Danish, and I'm going to set up on his flank, and try to get my archer cavalry in a good position to start taking some flanking shots. And I will say right now, this was an extremely close battle. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience on it, but one thing I do have is I understand the morale system, and my cavalry is definitely going to end up playing a huge part in this battle in kind of causing routes and trying to pretty much just do as much damage to them as possible. I mean, the great thing about Byzantines is that their archer cavalry can do a ton of damage from just from firing their bows, obviously. But then hammer and anvils with Byzantine cavalry is extremely effective as well. And you're going to see that later in the battle, that definitely turns it in my favor a little bit. But really, what I want to do in this battle is I just want to set up on both his flanks and just get a complete surround off and try to just keep his attention focused on as many angles as possible. And what I'm going to be able to, how I'm going to be able to do that is there's a bunch of trees right in front of my infantry line, and I'm going to run up onto his flank. And because a lot of his units are spear wall, like the Obudshire, they're extremely heavily armored and they're a really good unit, but they're not good at maneuvering. And so I'm going to be able to set up on his flank without him being able to respond to that very quickly. So right now I'm just kind of setting up my cavalry on the side here. Ideally what I want to do is I want to set my cavalry up directly behind his lines and then hit his right flank with my infantry body, and then try to get him turned around and bunched up so I can just hammer and anvil him with the Kataphracts. But he has a bunch of spear units, and like I said, those Obudshire and spear wall just can shred cavalry units. And so I have to be extremely careful bringing my cavalry in. Let's get a close-up of the Danish units, because I think they're really, really cool looking. And the unit variety in this game is so awesome. It's a nice change of pace from Shogun, really. Because, I mean, as you guys know, I've been playing Shogun for a long time. Yeah, there's Katana Samurai, no Dachis, blah blah blah. There's just a bunch of units that are all pretty similar. But the faction variety really lends itself well to medieval. And it makes it so that you can just experiment with a lot of different builds, a lot of different units. I think it's a lot of fun. And if you guys haven't played Medieval 2 online, GameSpy is pretty terrible. So you might have trouble setting it up, but if you can manage to set up a GameSpy account and play online, I definitely recommend it, because I think I have a lot of fun playing on it. So I'm going to get my Vardar Ryotai archers into this... Wow, I can't actually remember what that's called. It's kind of embarrassing. This is sort of, I'm just going to say circle formation. And it's basically going to supply a steady stream of arrows at his Norse archers and his Norse axemen. And it's going to make my accuracy worse, but it's going to make his accuracy worse as well. He's not going to be able to shoot my cavalry as easily. But as soon as I notice that I'm taking some casualties, I'm going to pull them out and set up my Kataphracts. He obviously doesn't like getting shot, so he's going to send a Huscarl unit to try to kill my missile cavalry. But I'm not going to let him do that. I've got my Kataphracts on standby, and I'm going to charge them from behind and try to get those guys off the field. And I'm taking some pot shots at them with my missile cavalry as well. He's not going to be able to catch my missile cavalry. They're way faster than the Huscarls are. And really, the Huscarls aren't particularly good cavalry anyway. They don't have lances, they only have axes. So they don't get the charge bonus off that most cavalry units do. And my Kataphracts are definitely going to be able to shred those guys in melee for sure. And here my attack on the flank has just come. I'm into melee with his Norse axemen and his Huscarls on his right flank. And definitely my favorite unit in the game is the Varangian Guard. We're going to get some close-ups of those guys because, ironically, they're actually a Norse unit. They're from Denmark, I believe. But the Byzantines somehow got a hold of them. I don't remember if they were mercenaries or what exactly the history is behind them. But they are an extremely powerful axe unit, have a huge charge, really good defense, and they can shred a lot of melee units in this game. But I'm going to now send in my cavalry, and I'm just going to get a bunch of hammers. Well, actually, there's no hammer, there's no anvil yet. So I'm just basically just charging a lot of his guys in the rear. Unfortunately, he does a good job with his Obudshire. He gets them turned around and shreds one of my Kataphracts. So they're going to rout, but they will come back later in the battle. And I'm just hitting every unit that I can that isn't a spear unit, doing as much damage as I can. I brought these Norse axemen down on his left flank to 30 men, so they're already close to wavering. But the problem is that my Kataphracts, once they get into melee, they can't really stand up to a lot of these Norse infantry units. So I just need to charge and cycle charge and pull them out as soon as they get into melee, because I don't want to leave them in sustained combat. Really what I want to do is I just want to break his right flank and get my cavalry in behind his spear walls. He's sending some Obudshire and Norse axemen to reinforce over by this little village area right here. And those Obudshire from the front, I'm not going to be able to beat them in melee because their spear wall is just really strong and they're really heavily armored. So I'm going to have to rely on my cavalry here to turn the battle in my favor, because I am losing this infantry engagement. I'm doing a good job on his right flank, but because Norse archers are really good in melee as well, there's just too many units for me to kill. So I just need to keep hammering and anviling and do as much damage from behind as possible, get those morale penalties going off. And these Kataphracts and Vardariotai are definitely going to be the trump card in this battle. If I can't get good charges off with them, I am not going to win this. So my Kataphracts are into melee on this kind of big melee blob over on the right side. I didn't do a great job cycle charging with them. Really what you want to do is you want to charge, pull them out, charge, pull out, because that's how you get the morale penalties really going well. And unfortunately, he does a really smart strategy that I don't notice right away, is he has this Obuchire coming in and Spear Wall right behind my Kataphracts, and if I don't pull my Kataphracts out in time, they're going to get absolutely butchered, because, like I said, Spear Wall destroys cavalry. So I need to pull those guys out as quickly as possible. I don't remember if I pulled them out in time or not. I think I do. But my missile cavalry is still shooting in on his Norse archers, and pretty soon they're going to run out of ammo, and I'm just going to start running hammer and anvils with them. But it's at this point in the battle that I start to see my line is kind of wavering over on the right side. One of my Latinkin just broke. They're running away now. And one thing that's very strange about this game is that units will rout all the time, but they'll come back. In Shogun, usually units shatter instead of breaking, and you very rarely have units come back. But that's one thing that's very different about this game, is that broken units will come back into the fight as long as they aren't chased off the battlefield. So even though the balance bar is definitely in his favor and I've lost a ton of men, it is going to start changing in my favor. And we're going to focus on my bodyguard over on the left side, because they just got into the Norse archers, and bodyguard obviously have 2 hit points and really high melee stats, so they'll shred any archer unit in the game for sure. And I'm just gonna try to route this left flank over here so I can focus all my guys on this right, because my guys are breaking now, and if they don't come back soon, I'm gonna lose this game. I only have one Varangian guard left in the fight, fighting against his Norse axeman and Obuchire, and he definitely has an advantage right now. My Kataphracts just broke, and it was at this point that I was kind of scared. I was like, I think I'm going to lose this battle. I don't think my guys are going to come back in time. It's definitely possible for me to still win, though. It's just going to depend on how I use my cavalry. The Vardariotai and my general's bodyguard over on the left are what are going to change this in my favor. I just broke all his archer units. I'm going to try to get those guys off the field and then bring them over to the right side so I can start hammering and anviling. Right now I only have this Varangian guard left. Although my Latinkin are starting to come back. They're exhausted though, so they're not going to be great in melee, but I just need something to tie down his melee units so I can hit him in the rear with cavalry. Yeah, I mean, there's not much left on this field. This has been a war of attrition so far, and here my Vardariotai come in. They just got a huge hammer and anvil off, but they don't have lances, so they don't have the huge charge bonus. Obviously, they will give a morale penalty, though, and it's just going to be manipulating that morale that will win me this battle. Got all my cavalry coming in, my general's bodyguard with only 10 men left in the unit, charging his Norse archers and his Obuchire from the side. And finally, my infantry decide to come back. And I'm going to get into melee with them as soon as possible, because now this is anyone's ball game. The announcer just told me that only intervention by the Almighty can win me this battle, but I would say the balance bar is actually pretty even at this point. And since my Latinkin just came back from routing, and I still have cavalry, which he lost. He only brought 2 Huskarl units, which I think was a huge mistake of his, not having good cavalry. It kind of let me dictate the pace of the battle, but this is not over yet. This could go either way. It's just going to depend on my hammer and anviling. So one of his units is just starting to waver now. His Norse archers just broke, and the balance bar has just shifted in my favor for the first time in this entire battle. And the morale penalties of his general, I think his general's about to die pretty soon here. And just surrounding him with my cavalry is going to just make him break. That's 1 unit gone, 2 units gone. And now he only has Obuchire with 4 men. That's another weird thing about this game. Oh, his general just died. uh, the morale penalties in this game are very different. You can have like a 4 men left in the unit and they won't route for some reason. It's strange. There's definitely some differences between this and Shogun for sure. But he only has 4 Obushire and 18. Yeah, he has 22 Obushire left, and they just broke because I got a really nice hammer and anvil off. And so what looked like a battle that I might lose, I ended up turning around just because I had the cavalry advantage, and just rear charge after rear charge ended up causing a mass rout and turning that battle in my favor. It was a close one though, and I want to say good game to him because I really enjoyed that. That was actually I think it was my first or second battle back after not playing Medieval for months, and I thought it was really fun. And I mean, he definitely made some mistakes, but so did I. I just think his biggest mistake that battle was not bringing enough cavalry. 2 Huscarls is not going to cut it, especially against the Byzantines who have really good heavy cavalry. So looking at the unit stats, my missile cav is actually probably what changed the battle for me because they got a bunch of kills with their bows, and they ended up getting some really nice rear charges off that routed his army. Kataphractoi did pretty well, and my Latinkin and Branching Guard did very well also. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I got 4 or 5 more Medieval 2 replays coming shortly, and if you want to see more Medieval 2, definitely tell me. Like I said, I'm going to be posting 5 or 6 regardless of whether you guys like it or not, just because I've been enjoying it. But after that, I want to know what you guys think about Medieval 2 and whether you want to see more. So, hope you enjoyed that, and I will be bringing you more content soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.